Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really digging into something absolutely fundamental to all of us, sleep.
That's right.
We've gathered some incredibly compelling insights from our sources, and honestly, what we found is pretty eye-opening.
Definitely.
Our mission here is to unpack the vital things that happen when you get enough sleep, and just as crucial, the really significant impacts when you don't. We'll be looking at how it affects both your brain and your body.
And we're going to kick things off with maybe an unexpected starting point, but one that really drives home the importance of sleep right away. Testicles.
Right. Okay. Tell us more.
Well, our source material points out that men who consistently get only about 5 hours of sleep a night, they have significantly smaller testicles compared to those getting 7 hours or more.
Wow. That's specific.
It is. And on top of that, routinely sleeping just 4 to 5 hours a night can actually lead to testosterone levels equivalent to someone 10 years older.
10 years.
Yeah, essentially, skimping on sleep can age a man by a full decade in that specific critical wellness aspect.
Okay. And is this just a male issue?
No, absolutely not. To be clear, we see similar impairments in female reproductive health when sleep is insufficient.
Right.
It affects everyone.
Right.
As one expert in our sources puts it, kind of humorously, but also quite soberingly. This is the best news that I have for you today. From this point, it may only get worse.
So that definitely sets the stage. You can see this isn't just about feeling a bit groggy. It touches on really fundamental parts of our biology.
Exactly.
We're going to explore all of it, how sleep impacts your memory, your immune system, even down to your DNA. Okay, so let's start with the brain, especially its, crucial role in learning and memory.
Right.
Our sources really highlight that sleep is absolutely essential in two key ways here. First, you need sleep after you've learned something new.
Yep, consolidation.
It's basically like hitting the save button on that new information, making sure those fresh memories don't just, poof, disappear.
Crucial.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. You also need sleep before learning.
Ah, yes. The preparation phase.
Think of your brain like a dry sponge, right? It needs that sleep to be ready to soak up new information.
Good analogy.
Without enough sleep, the memory circuits become, as the source vividly describes it, waterlogged. And that makes it incredibly difficult for your brain to absorb anything new.
And we actually have some pretty stark data that illustrates this exact point. There was this study. Researchers really wanted to challenge the idea that pulling an all-nighter was somehow, effective for studying.
Right, the classic student myth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they had two groups. One got a full 8 hours of sleep, nice and rested. The other group, sleep deprived. Kept awake all night, no naps, no caffeine.
Okay.
Then the next day, both groups were put into an MRI scanner and asked to learn a whole list of new facts.
And the results?
Genuinely striking. The sleep-deprived group showed a 40% deficit in their brain's ability to make new memories. 40%.
40. That's enormous.
It really is. I mean, to put that in context for you, it's basically the difference between a child acing an exam versus failing it miserably. 40% is profound.
Wow. That really puts it into perspective. And understanding the neurological reason behind that deficit makes it even more compelling, doesn't it?
It does.
So on both sides of your brain, you've got this structure, the hippocampus. You can think of it like your brain's informational inbox, right?
The receiving area.
It's designed to receive and temporarily hold on to new memory files. So in that study, when they looked at the hippocampus of the people who'd slept well, they saw lots of healthy activity, signals related to learning. But in the sleep-deprived group...
What did they see?
Or not see? Almost nothing. No significant signal whatsoever.
Wow.
It's almost as though sleep deprivation had completely shut down your memory inbox. Any new incoming files. They were just being bounced, couldn't get in.
Just rejected. And it's not just about the amount of sleep, is it? It's the quality that really seems to power this memory function.
That's a great point.
Yeah, when scientists put electrodes on someone's head during deep sleep, the deepest stages, they see these really powerful brain waves. And on top of those waves, these spectacular bursts of electrical activity called sleep spindles.
Sleep spindles. Okay.
Right. And the combined action of these deep sleep brain waves and the spindles, it works like a kind of, a file transfer mechanism.
Like moving data.
Exactly. At night, they shift memories from that fragile, short-term holding area, the hippocampus, to a more permanent long-term storage site up in the cortex, protecting them, basically, making them safe.
So that explains the saving part we talked about. Okay, so what does all this understanding mean for us as we get older? Because, we generally accept that learning and memory can decline with age.
Yeah, that's a common observation.
And what's also clear, physiologically, is that as we age, our sleep quality often deteriorates, especially that deep restorative kind of sleep you just mentioned.
That's a key signature of aging, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Less deep sleep.
So what's fascinating is that these two things, memory decline and worse sleep, they aren't just happening in parallel. Our sources suggest they're deeply connected.
Absolutely linked.
In fact, the disruption of deep sleep is now seen as a significant, maybe underappreciated factor contributing to cognitive and memory decline in aging, and even, quite alarmingly, in conditions like Alzheimer's disease.
Which sounds pretty bleak, I know. But there's actually a real glimmer of hope here.
Okay.
Unlike some other age-related brain changes, which are incredibly difficult to treat, sleep. Well, sleep is potentially a modifiable factor. It's like a missing piece in the puzzle of cognitive decline that we might actually be able to address.
Not just sleeping pills, I assume.
No, exactly. Sleeping pills don't produce naturalistic sleep, but researchers are exploring things like direct current brain stimulation.
Okay, what's that?
It involves applying a tiny, imperceptible voltage to the brain during sleep. The idea is to basically help amplify those deep sleep brainwaves, give them a boost.
Does it work?
Well, in young, healthy adults, this technique has actually been shown to almost double the memory benefits they get from sleep.
Double? That's impressive.
It is. So the long-term goal, the sort of moonshot, if you like, is to translate this into affordable, maybe even portable technology for older adults and those with dementia.
To restore that healthy, deep sleep.
Exactly. And potentially salvage their learning and memory function. It's a really exciting prospect.
That really is a powerful potential solution. Okay, so we've seen how profoundly sleep affects your brain, your memory, even reproductive health. Let's broaden our deep dive now. Consider the rest of your body, starting with, say, the cardiovascular system.
Right. And for this, we can look at what's essentially a huge natural experiment performed on 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year.
Which is?
Daylight saving time.
Ah, of course.
Think about it. In the spring, when we lose just 1 hour of sleep overnight.
Yep, feels rough.
It's more than just feeling rough. We see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks the very next day.
24% from 1 hour.
From just 1 hour of lost sleep. Conversely, in the autumn, when we gain an hour.
The good one.
Right. There's a 21% reduction in heart attacks.
That's undeniable.
It's a very clear pattern. And you see similar profiles, by the way, for things like car crashes, road traffic accidents. Even suicide rates track with these sleep changes.
Wow. It's a stark reminder of sleep's immediate and quite serious impact.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift to the immune system now. You often hear about sleep being important for immunity.
Critically important. Think of your natural killer cells. You can picture them as the sort of Secret Service agents of your immune system.
Okay, I like that.
Their job is to identify and eliminate dangerous, unwanted elements. Things like cancerous tumor masses. You absolutely want a robust set of these guys protecting you.
Makes sense. So what happens with poor sleep?
Well, tragically, that's precisely what you compromise if you're not getting enough sleep. There was one experiment, quite shocking, really. Researchers restricted healthy people to just 4 hours of sleep for one single night. Just one night. Then they looked at the impact on these natural killer cells. It wasn't a small drop, like 10 or 20%. There was a staggering 70% reduction in their activity. 70% after one bad night.
One simple night. That signifies a really concerning state of immune deficiency, even from short-term sleep loss.
It's actually terrifying.
It is. And you can then understand why we're now finding significant links between short sleep duration, chronic short sleep, and an increased risk for various forms of cancer, bowel, prostate, breast cancer. The links are becoming clear.
Right.
In fact, the evidence is now so compelling that the World Health Organization has actually classified any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen.
Just the shift work itself.
Primarily because of the disruption it causes to your sleep-wake rhythms. That disruption seems to be the problem.
Okay, so you know that old saying, you can sleep when you're dead?
Yeah, I've heard it. Based on everything we're hearing, our sources suggest that's, well, mortally unwise advice.
That's putting it mildly. Look, the epidemiological studies looking at millions of people, they've uncovered a very simple, stark truth. The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. Full stop.
Wow.
Short sleep predicts all-cause mortality. It's as basic as that.
That's sobering.
And if, increasing your risk for cancer or Alzheimer's disease wasn't worrying enough, researchers have now found that a lack of sleep will even erode the very fabric of biological life itself, your DNA.
It affects our DNA. How?
There was this fascinating study. They took healthy adults, limited them to just 6 hours of sleep a night for 1 week. Then they profiled their gene activity, comparing it to when those same people got a full 8 hours.
Okay, and what do they find?
2 critical things. First, a substantial number, 711 genes, to be precise, showed distorted activity just from that 1 week of 6 hours sleep.
711 genes.
Yep. And they changed in 2 ways. About half of those genes were actually switched off or downregulated. And guess what systems they were associated with?
Let me guess. The immune system.
Bingo. Once again, reinforcing that immune deficiency problem. But maybe more concerningly, the other half of those genes were actually switched on or upregulated by the lack of sleep.
And what were they linked to?
Things associated with the promotion of tumors, long-term chronic inflammation in the body, stress, all pathways that lead to things like cardiovascular disease.
So it's hitting us from both sides, suppressing the good stuff and promoting the bad stuff.
Precisely. There's really no aspect of your health, your wellness, that can hide from sleep deprivation and escape unharmed. It's like our source uses the analogy of a broken water pipe in your home.
Okay.
Sleep loss will just leak down into every nook and cranny of your physiology.
Yeah.
It even tampers with the very DNA nucleic alphabet that spells out your daily health narrative.
That's a powerful analogy, a broken water pipe. Okay, so hearing all of this, I imagine a lot of listeners are thinking, right, this is serious. What can I actually do to start getting better sleep?
A very practical question.
Beyond the obvious, maybe like avoiding the damaging impact of alcohol and caffeine on sleep, especially later in the day. And, if you're struggling at night, maybe avoiding naps during the day.
Those are definitely important basics. But our source highlights 2 particularly effective pieces of advice that apply to pretty much everyone.
Okay, what are they?
The first one is regularity.
Regularity, meaning?
Go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. Every single day, no matter whether it's a weekday or the weekend.
Even weekends. That's tough for some people.
It can be, but regularity is absolutely king for your sleep. It anchors your sleep rhythm, your circadian rhythm, and it dramatically improves both the quantity and the quality of the sleep you get.
Okay, regularity is king. What's number 2?
Keep it cool.
Temperature.
Exactly. Your body actually needs to drop its core temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 1 degree Celsius, to initiate sleep and then to stay asleep comfortably.
That makes sense why it's hard to sleep when it's too hot.
Precisely. You'll almost always find it easier to fall asleep in a room that's a bit too cool rather than one that's too hot.
So what's the ideal temperature?
Well, it varies a bit, but for most people, aiming for a bedroom temperature somewhere around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 18 degrees Celsius, seems to be optimal for good, healthy sleep.
Regularity and keep it cool. Those seem like actionable starting points.
Definitely.
But we know, even with the best intentions, sleep can be a real struggle for many people. And that often leads to questions like, can I just catch up on sleep on the weekend? Or what should I do when I'm just lying there, tossing and turning, getting frustrated?
Yeah, very common questions.
Yeah.
Let's take the catching up one first.
Okay.
Our source material is very clear on this. You can't.
Really? No catching up at all?
Nope. Sleep isn't like a bank account. You can't accumulate a debt during the week and then hope to pay it off with interest later. It just doesn't work biologically.
Why not? Other bodily debts seem recoverable.
Well, it's interesting. Humans are pretty unique in this. We are, as far as we know, the only species that deliberately deprives itself of sleep for no good biological reason.
Huh. Never thought of it that way.
So because Mother Nature never really had to contend with this chronic self-inflicted sleep deprivation throughout evolution, she never bothered to develop a safety net. There's no real recovery mechanism built in.
So when we undersleep,
things just sort of implode pretty quickly, both within the brain and the body, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
The fundamental takeaway, the bottom line, is you just have to prioritize it daily.
Okay, point taken. Prioritize, don't try to catch up. What about the other common struggle, lying in bed, wide awake, tossing and turning, getting more and more anxious about not sleeping? It's incredibly frustrating.
It really is, and it can become a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
The advice here is quite specific.
Okay.
If you find yourself staying awake in bed for too long, and a good rule of thumb is maybe more than 20 minutes or so, get out of bed.
Get out, even if it's the middle of the night?
Yes. Get out of bed, go to a different room, and do something relaxing. Read a book in dim light, maybe some light stretching, listen to calm music, something different.
Why get out of bed?
Because your brain is an incredibly associative machine. If you lie in bed awake for long periods, your brain starts to associate your bed, your bedroom, with wakefulness and frustration.
Ah, the opposite of what you want.
Exactly. You need to break that association. Only return to bed when you actually feel sleepy again.
To relearn the connection.
Precisely. You want to retrain your brain to know that your bed is the place for sleep. Think about it this way. You'd never sit at the dinner table for hours just waiting to get hungry, right?
No, of course not.
So why would you lie in bed waiting to get sleepy? Go somewhere else until sleepiness returns, then go back to bed.
That makes a lot of sense. Break the association. Okay. When you really step back and look at everything we've covered, the overarching message from our sources feels incredibly profound. Sleep, unfortunately, perhaps for our busy lives, it's just not an optional lifestyle luxury, is it?
Not at all. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity, period.
It's quite literally your life support system. And as the source puts it, maybe Mother Nature's best effort yet at immortality.
Powerful way to think about it.
And the flip side is that the widespread decimation of sleep throughout industrialized nations, it's having a genuinely catastrophic impact on our health, our wellness, even the safety and education of our kids.
It's being called a silent sleep loss epidemic.
And it really is quickly becoming one of the greatest public health challenges we face in the 21st century.
It truly is.
So maybe it is time for us, collectively and individually, to reclaim our right to a full night of sleep, and to do it without feeling embarrassed or worrying about that unfortunate stigma of laziness that sometimes gets attached to prioritizing sleep.
Absolutely. We need to shift that perception.
Because in doing so, we can be reunited with what is clearly, based on the evidence, the most powerful elixir of life. It really is the Swiss Army knife of health.
Well said.
So from that surprising initial fact about reproductive health right through to its profound impact on our memory, our immune system, our heart health, and even our very DNA, this deep dive has clearly shown just how non-negotiable sleep truly is.
The foundation of health.
It really stands out as the most powerful elixir of life we have access to.
So knowing now that sleep is essentially Mother Nature's best effort at immortality, and that it impacts your very DNA, perhaps the question to leave you with is this.
Okay.
What small, consistent step can you take starting this week to begin reclaiming your right to this fundamental biological necessity? And just imagine, what ripple effects might that simple choice have for your long-term health and vitality?
Something definitely worth thinking about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you sleep well tonight.